Fear the Walking Dead just gets worse and worse every episode. I swear to God, it is baffling how bad this show is. You'd almost have to try to make it bad, to make it this stupid. Last week, of course, we saw Morgan go to King County. Right, there's a highly anticipated episode, back to the roots, back to episode 1 of The Walking Dead. Right, when we first meet Morgan and his son Dwayne, and Rick encounters them, and Morgan can't shoot his zombie wife because obviously that's a tough thing to do. In last week's episode, he's going back to kill Dwayne, who he's left there a zombie all these years, and I guess apparently just now all of a sudden he wants to go do that. And there's some great moments, like every time he puts the rifle scope up to his eye, he sees his dead wife zombified in the reticle. Zombie looks fine before, but as soon as it's through the scope, boom, zombie wife. That must have happened a dozen times at least. There's also I'm trying to figure it out. I thought that Padre, the place, was in Louisiana. I don't remember where I heard that, but it made sense because they pick up the survivors at the end of season 7 in the Gulf off the coast of Texas. So Padre being nearby-ish in Louisiana made a lot of sense. The terrain, the sort of swampy terrain, looks like could be Louisiana. Could be a lot of different places in the South, though. But it makes sense that that it's near Texas. It's a long ways from King County, though, in Georgia, right? And yet Morgan walks there apparently just instantly and is followed by Grace and Mo and Dwight and Sherry and later Shrike. All of them show up in King County, although Shrike does it all off screen and then tells us about it in this episode. The only way that this really makes any sense is if Padre is actually in Georgia, but the only Georgia coast is on the Atlantic Ocean. There, Florida blocks it off in the Gulf, which means that if Padre is near Savannah, Georgia, then somehow Shrike's people on boats made it all the way around Florida into the Gulf and over to Texas and then brought them all the way back. And they're sending people out hundreds and hundreds, multiple states, hundreds and hundreds of miles to collect children and bring them back to Padre. I guess it's also possible that Padre is just south of Georgia, south of Florida, the little strip of Florida up there. It's possible. That would make more sense. But that would still be many, many hours between there. I mean, days on foot. Many hours via vehicle to King County. And then that makes you wonder, okay, if you're already all the way over there, why wouldn't you just go to Alexandria, which isn't that much further? Why wouldn't you just take your people? I mean, you've got Dwight and Sherry, you've got all these people that have roots there, have friends there. Why not go there? It doesn't make sense. Anyways, Grace is bitten at the end of that episode, and this episode is all about trying to get Grace to June and the train car to treat her bite. Dwight and Sherry and Finch are also involved. Finch was all healthy at the end of last episode, right? He had surgery for his appendicitis and had his walker bite cured, although we learned it wasn't really cured, by radiation, and just days later was able to knock out Shrike in a single sweep move with his foot or something. This kid's supposed to be 7, by the way. He's played by a 15-year-old actor. They're not even they're not even trying at this point. Why even say he's 7? Why not just have a bigger time jump or something if you can't actually cast kids that are even close to the right age? But he's sick again this episode. There's just everything's back and forth in this show. You're sick one episode, you're healthy the next. One episode, you're like, Padre's the worst. And the next episode, you're like, oh no, I'm going to be with Padre. Padre's pretty cool. I like them. Everything's written it's just not how people talk, right? Everything is it just feels so stilted and so manufactured. All the dialogue, everything people say to each other, it's so wooden and fake sounding. I swear to God, these writers have never had a conversation with another human being. They've never fired a gun. They've never used walkie-talkies, that's for sure. Almost like, I would say more than half the conversations in this episode, and in most episodes, but especially this one, take place over the walkie-talkie. Dwight and Sherry take Finch to draw away the bad guy so that Morgan and his group can escape, which is totally out of character for them. But then they're walkie-talkieing June, and she just shows up where they are like minutes later. It's like everybody is right in the right spot. Shrike's teleporting all over the place, to King County, to the train. The girl takes Grace, who's dying. Grace pretty much... Okay, so Grace, we know who's dying. She said last episode that her radiation sickness was back. She didn't have long to live. And then she gets bitten. And so then their idea is that they're going to go use radiation to save her, which... I don't know, if your radiation poisoning is already that bad, you're probably just going to kill her with it. So she's like, no, please don't. I would rather just, have these last moments with you guys. But, of course, Morgan then leaves to draw off the incoming Padre people, bird people, and leaves this purportedly 8-year-old girl on the boat with a woman who's about to change into a zombie and just takes off. And then Mo, instead of doing what Grace wants, just takes her to the train, which apparently she knows where it is. And then Grace ends up dying without Morgan around. And this is like the third time in this show where a kid has basically killed the adult or has gotten in the way of them in some important... You had Charlie kill Nick and then get welcomed into the group and like buddies with Alicia, right? And then you had, what's-her-face, I can't even think of her name, kill John Dory. And now you have this, and Mo's in the train car, and it's not working, and Grace is going to die, and she's like, here, use this tiny scalpel on me when I turn. And then we have the same scene we've seen like a bazillion times in The Walking Dead, which is, person turns, and then other person can't kill them. I can't. And then they turn into a zombie and almost, or, in this case, almost kills Mo. It's just so bad. It's like... I just can't, I don't know, I'm sure I'm missing some stuff. At the end, after Grace dies, Mo shows up in the nick of time, or Morgan shows up in the nick of time, kills her zombie, saves Mo, and then Shrike shows up right after that. Everyone just shows up right at the right time. They just all teleport around. And then Mo decides she's going to go help the other prefects, the kids, teenagers, that work for Padre. She's going to help them go clear out this big shipping yard, which you apparently can't do with guns because a bullet might hit the shipping containers, and I don't know, maybe they are just filled with plastic explosives or something. But Morgan tries to get away, and he takes out both the guards, doesn't bother to pick up the gun that one of them was holding, runs right past Shrike, who apparently doesn't hear any of this, but as he runs past without stopping her, she trips him, and then the other guards get up and put the gun on him again. And then he does the whole "I can't die" crazy Morgan thing. Yeah. So we get probably the biggest death we've had in a long time. The biggest death maybe since John Dory. Grace has been around since season 5. I want to say nice things about like her final conversation over the walkie-talkie with Morgan. I mean, it's so appropriate that their last final words would be over a walkie-talkie. I mean, that is the chosen way of communication in this show. But honestly, I felt like there was just about zero chemistry between those two, between Morgan and Grace. Like, their relationship never made any sense. I mean, neither does, Dwight or Sherry. I mean, Dwight and Sherry have almost, if they not only have no chemistry, they have like the opposite of chemistry. But I mean, I don't know. The one moment I liked in this episode was when Daniel and Dwight gave a little bro hug to each other. They didn't even say anything. They just like little. That was pretty funny. That's it. That's all I have. So this is another really stupid, just mind-bogglingly stupid episode, and we have one more before the season break, and then 6 more episodes. We still haven't seen Strand or Luciana. And, we've barely gotten any Madison, even though she's like the big draw for this season, right? Madison's back. Now she's going to show up in 2 episodes. It's been mostly the Morgan show, like hardcore the Morgan show. And that's really too bad. It seems to me, based on promos and everything else, that we've just lost a bunch of the characters, like Wendell, the rabbi, Sarah, the trucker, Wendell's sister. I don't know. Lots. There's been, some leaks that Troy Otto is coming back, which I really hate the idea of, because he was a great character, and they're just gonna destroy him in this, as they have destroyed every other character. Yeah, I don't know. This may just be the worst season yet. Although it has failed to have this sort of utterly preposterous singular moments, like the ethanol, like the beer balloon, the plane crash. Like, those things were maybe more ridiculous individually. The PSAs, the bridge death, those things were taken individually were dumber than this season has been. But this season makes no sense at all. The bad guys are completely nonsensical. The conflict feels completely contrived, and the time jump just makes it all so much worse. Because apparently all these people have been working with Padre this whole time just fine, no big deal. Just give up your children, give up your life, work for these assholes, and have never asked any questions, never had any problems until now. Now suddenly it's this big whole thing. You never noticed anything odd about this place and these people they're working for until now. Yeah, sure, that makes so much fucking sense. Honestly, these clowns running this show, how do they have jobs? How do they still have jobs? They should be flipping burgers in a restaurant somewhere. They do not deserve to be running a show like this. I mean, running it right into the fucking ground. All right, thanks for watching. Peace.